There are two exit doors located at the front and the back of the boat, and two life oils at the back of the boat.
Brothels and secret societies, addicts, ladies of the night, and gangsters jostled for space in this once dangerous, mysterious place. But today, the building Riverside Point sits on the historical foundations of that notorious village. No longer dangerous and seedy, but a delightful waterfront. But way before the British arrived on our shores, Fort Canning was the place where ancient Malay royalty once lived and were laid to rest. It was considered so sacred that it was known as Forbidden Hill. Forbidden because commoners were not allowed to visit. But of course, all that has changed, and now you're most welcome to visit Fort Canning to see the old British underground bunkers, and if you're really brave-hearted, explore the ancient gravestones that still remain on its shady slopes. Now here's a building that just begs for attention. See the one adorned with colorful windows? On your right is Quay and its stretch of colorful, quaint shop houses. It was completed in 8 immigrants believed that this part of the Singapore River was where prosperity and wealth could be found. That's also why many banks and businesses started up here and eventually developed this area into our current central business district. Where once boats lined the water's edge, today the banks of Quay are lined with shop houses turned into restaurants and pubs. The shop houses form a charming contrast of Singapore's developing years against the skyline of a new Singapore. This truly is a uniquely Singapore sight. By the way, are you feeling hungry? Hawkers and their push carts used to line the riverbanks, selling local dishes that were cheap and delicious. A bowl of Teochew porridge cost only 10 cents. Directly ahead is Cabinet Bridge, completed in 1869 and named after Colonel Sir William Walter Kavanagh, Singapore's last governor. It's Singapore's only suspension bridge to have retained its intricate original form. It was manufactured in Scotland, then shipped to Singapore later to be assembled. Unfortunately, the bridge was built too low, and boats had to wait for low tide before they could pass. So look out and don't forget to duck as we cruise under the bridge. Just kidding. Coming up on the other side of Cabinet Bridge, you'll see a group of little boys jumping into the river. Don't worry about jumping in to save them. They're actually incredibly lifelike bronze sculptures showing along the Singapore River to and from ships. Since the 1950s, this was also the site of many political campaign rallies, but even longer before that, it was occupied by Fort Fullerton, built Singapore's half-lion, half-fish icon. The Malayan stood guard here at the river mouth for 30 years before it was hauled by barge to its new home in the bay in 2002. As we make our way out into Marina Bay, you'll be able to see the Malayan for yourself and hear all about its story. Singapore was originally known as the ancient city of Temasek, which means sea town in Javanese. But according to legend recorded in the Malay annals, Prince Sang Nila Utama named it Singapura, meaning lion city in Sanskrit, after he spotted the lion on its shores. The lion's head represents the lion spotted by the legendary Sang Nila Utama, while its fishtail symbolizes Temasek and Singapore's humble beginnings as a fishing village. Measuring 8.6 meters high and weighing 70 tons, the lion sits on reclaimed land looking out to sea. She attracts millions of visitors in May, bring a trip to Bangkok to photograph this world-famous icon in the new home right here in sea. Take a peek behind the lion and you'll see a beautiful it stands naked as a postman because of its next to the lion is a luxurious lifestyle dining and waterfront hotel known as the Golden Clarke that brings
Просто таких высоченных, дорогие туристы. once known as Red Lamp here, because legend has it that a red royal lamp used to hang from the window and sides very carefully. And now serves as the lobby of the Fullerton Bay Hotel. And beside it is Customs House, a charming conservation building from the late 1960s, which began as the Customs Harbour Branch building, one of Singapore's earliest modern-style public buildings. As Singapore's shipping and trade boomed, it became the home of the Singapore Customs Police, tasked with watching over one of the world's busiest harbours. Further up, you'll see the magnificent Marina Bay Financial Centre, which sits on prime waterfront real estate at the heart of Singapore's new downtown and is an expansion of the Central Business District. Arguably the crown jewel of Marina Bay, this purpose-built financial centre provides the best in form and function, blending office towers, luxury apartments, and retail space, making it one of the hottest places to live, play, and work, as befitting Singapore's position as a global financial, residential, and entertainment hub. It's also part of the 3.5-kilometer Marina Bay waterfront promenade, which has become a popular scenic footpath, especially since this walkway boasts several unique design features. You can look forward to an uninterrupted experiential walk or jog around the bay. Do find time to explore exhibits and innovative city model offering a bird's-eye view of key landmarks in Marina Bay, which will help you navigate the Bay Area.
landmark that really needs no introduction. It's the iconic Marina Bay Sands Integrated Resort, featuring a casino, hotels, and convention center, world-class entertainment and retail shops, all housed within award-winning architecture that resembles a ship atop 3 towers. Notice also the palm-shaped Arts and Sciences Museum and the unique Phoenix Marina Channel. Keeps out the seawater to create Singapore's first reservoir in the city, a vital source of fresh water and agriculture. The Marina Reservoir is Singapore's 15th reservoir. It has the largest and most urbanized catchment area at 10,000 hectares, twice the size of Singapore. Just imagine coming out of it and the very same stuff flowing out of your tank. Cruising out into the bay, you couldn't have missed the giant leaf in the sky. That is the Singapore Flyer, a skyscraping observation wheel that measures 165 meters tall, that's 42 stories high, and 150 meters in diameter. That's about the length of 87 Singaporean men lying head to toe. The wheel carries 28 city bus-sized capsules, each allowing up to 28 passengers, which means that at any one time, the Singapore Flyer can transport 784 passengers per revolution, which takes about 32 minutes to complete while rotating a smooth speed of 24 centimeters per second. And to really top it all off, the Esplanade's breezy rooftop garden offers up more unrivaled views of the city and bay area. The green area to your right was once lined with lovely European-style houses that brought to mind the fashionable elegance of London's Mayfair. No wonder the Esplanade was a popular place for European settlers to see and to be seen. That can be all interesting national monuments. The bridge straight ahead of us is Anderson Bridge, named after Sir John Anderson, yet another governor of the Straits Settlements. This elegant arch displays an excellent combination of intricate plaster and metalwork, whilst its curved structure provides high resistance to bending force, which comes in really handy since it supports the heavy weight of vehicles stepping back and forth daily. As a gorgeous contrast to the skyscrapers that now mark the Singapore skyline, just look to the right and you'll see sitting grandly before us 3 beautifully preserved buildings that commemorate Queen Victoria, the Empress of India. The Victoria Theatre and Victoria Memorial Hall, which features the clock tower, are both historical monuments dedicated to the performance arts. Right next to them is the Empress Place building, which was constructed in 1907 entirely by convict labor. Previously known as the government offices, the Empress Place building is now also a national monument and home to the Asian Civilizations Museum. The Asian Civilizations Museum is a treasure trove of history and culture that will introduce you to the world of Asian traditions. The museum features over 1,600 treasured artifacts in 4 themed geographical zones and includes a Singapore River gallery dedicated to the history and people of our beloved river. Be sure to check it out for an even more intimate picture of the things you've seen and learnt on this river cruise. into the sci-fi movie is actually part of the Supreme Court of Singapore. Now, this is Elgin Bridge, named after the then Governor General of India, Lord Elgin. Fittingly, the bridge served as a link between the Indian merchants on the north side of the river and the Chinese community on the south side in the days of our colonial past. We're now approaching Coleman Bridge, named after its Irish architect, George Drumgold Coleman, for his invaluable contributions to Singapore's development. Appointed the first superintendent of public works in Singapore, Coleman brought with him an architectural style known as Palladian, a combination of Greek and Roman styles adapted for our tropical climate. To your right is Quay, named after Sir Andrew Clarke, second governor to Singapore. From the late 19th century, Quay was the bustling center of commerce for Singapore. Hundreds of tongkangs or riverboats jostled bow and stern for a place to dock and unload their cargoes, human or otherwise, from the great ships anchored at the harbor. Tons of goods and volumes were stored at the godowns or warehouses by the river, which are those buildings you see along the riverbank. One of the buildings here was Whampoa's Ice House, which belonged to Quay, a prominent businessman from Whampoa, China. Way before refrigerators existed, he noticed a demand for ice in our hot tropical weather and had blocks of ice hauled from frozen lakes in America all the way here to Singapore. Unfortunately, his ice venture failed because expenses were simply too high. But much respect to the imaginative Mr. Fu for his daring attempt to keep Singaporeans cool. Today, Singaporeans keep cool by sipping drinks al fresco by the river. As you can see, Clarke has been transformed into a different but no less bustling port of call. Everyone flocks here for food, fun, and riverside festivals.